Shalom Aleichem, everyone. We're continuing Hachseg's learning of the Pele Yoetz, day number 149, Erev Shabbos Kodesh. We are in the chapter of Ger, which is a sojourner, someone that is really not settled down in the pleasures and the luxuries of Olam Hazeh, of this world. And these words are, as we've mentioned over the time that we're learning together, sometimes the words of the Pele Yoetz are very, very sharp, very fiery for the Amerikanische ears that we have. We're not holding by these levels, myself, not even close, and therefore it's hard sometimes to say over the words, but we will go through it to know what the goals are of what we're trying to accomplish, the levels that we're trying to reach. And even if we take just a little bit of his words to heart, perhaps it will be mechazik us in our world of Kedusha and Avodas Hashem, and maneuvering through this very complicated physical world that we live in to live a life of more and greater spirituality. V'Avinu Arishon Yaakov, our great forefather Yaakov Avinu, Bechir Shabavos, he was the choicest, the most chosen of all of the forefathers. He was on the highest darga of Kedusha. He was emes, he was truth, he was Torah. He went through Yisurim that nobody could fathom and imagine. He was Yaakov Avinu. He only asked from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, give me bread to eat, ubeged, give me clothing to wear. Nothing fancy. I'm not looking for anything. Like it says in the Mishnah Pirkei Avos, Kachi darka shel Torah. This is the way of Torah. Pas b'melech toichel, bread and salt you will eat. Umayim bamsor tishte, and a little bit of measured water you're going to drink. Ve'ala'aretz tishan, and on the floor you will sleep. V'chayei tsar tichye, you should live a life of tsar, of anguish, physical anguish. V'batoira ata omer, and with the lack of all the involvement in the physical world, then you will be able to be omer, you'll be able to engage yourself in the study of Torah. So it seems clear in the Mishnah Pirkei Avos over there that the less of a connection that you have to the Gashmias of this world, the greater is going to be your amelis, your involvement in Torah. The truth is, he says, in our generation. Now, this is the Pele Yoetz going back over 100 years. Imagine how much more so it applies to us. No one is able to be mechiach, to rebuke their friend. Al Dovid, on this particular point. And say to him, no, don't you see the words of the Tana? You see your chaver, your good friend, sitting down for a big 32-ounce tomahawk steak, and he's indulging himself, and he's got some good homemade bread over there with it's dripping with some par of margarine, and he is just pounding over here. Now this guy is a yeshiva bacher, an avreich in koilel, where he's an erlich balabas who goes and he learns every single day. And you see him indulging himself, and you say, oh, you don't know what it says in the Mishnah Pirkei Avos. It doesn't say pas bebasar, bread and meat you're supposed to eat. It says pas bemelech, bread and salt, that's all you're supposed to eat. Pas bemelech le pas bebasar v'kedayme. V'amar, and it says umayim, and then you tell the guy, it says, and you drink water. V'lo yain, this guy's sitting with a big bottle of wine, it's already 3/4 polished off, and having another sip. It doesn't say water. It doesn't say with wine. It says with water. Ve'ala arts, and it says you should sleep on the floor. Lo yala karim uksasais, not on mattresses and pillows. Toivim kadayma, puffy, nice mattress and a pillow. So geschmack over there with warm flannel sheets in the wintertime. It doesn't say that. It says sleep on the cold, hard floor. What's the matter with you? How are you going to become a Ben Torah? How are you going to grow and steig in Ruchnias? You're eating meat, you're eating bread, you're drinking wine and your Diet Coke and your Coke Zero and all the drinks and your sports drinks. You're drinking all that. Where does it say that? And you have such a comfortable bed with such cozy comforters to keep you warm in the chilly nights. Sleep on the floor. What's going on over here? Says the Pele Yoetz, you can't say that in this generation. Because if you tell a person the the Reisha of the Mishnah, you tell him that this is what it says in the beginning of the Mishnah you're supposed to do. So what's going to happen over here? So then he's going to read the end of the Mishnah. It says, and if you do this, so then that is the way that you live a life of Torah. If you do this, he'll tell you, you're not doing this. You're not living like that. I saw you eating the other night your fried chicken and French fries and mashed potatoes with gravy dripping all over the place. I saw you go to the bakery over there and walk out with a bag full of Danishes and you're the only one that's eating them. I saw you in your comfortable house and your nice bed and your nice car. I saw you with all of that. You don't have a right to come and tell me what to do. Another answer that we have readily available in our mouth, you know what? The Tana, the author of that Mishnah, in the days of he must have come from a very healthy and strong family. Not like us, weaklings over here in America, we're shvach. We don't have those koichais. We can't eat bread and salt today. Just eat the pieces of bread that you have when you make hamaitzi. No. We need much more in our generation. We're very weak people, fragile. We have a very fragile conditions, how we are. Disposition, very fragile. We need to eat a lot and we need to drink a lot and we need to be very, very comfortable. That's the only way that we can live. That's why we need all the other pleasures of this world. Like it says in the pasuk, man does not live by bread alone. What was Hashem talking about? He was talking about steak. He's talking about meatballs and spaghetti. He's talking about pizza. You have to have a big piece of pizza. If you live in New York, you have a piece of pizza. You need 5 hands to be able to eat that piece of pizza. Says the Pele Yoetz, that is the complaint, or that is the answer, the excuse that everybody will give. I mean, we're a different generation. Look, you walk down the street and there's more restaurants than there are shuls. What do you want from me? Obviously, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says you're not supposed to live on bread alone. You got to eat. You have to have the Mexican food and the Chinese food and the sushi and the sausages and the hamburgers and the steaks and the fries. You got to have it all. And the truth is, because we are so accustomed to eating in this way, that which was once considered to be luxurious and extra and overeating, so today it's hachrechi, today it's just necessity. Who could live on bread alone? Bizman hazeh? Who can live such a simple life where they barely eat anything? Rav Arlev Steinman Zechet Tzaddik Kadosh Livracha was able to live on almost nothing. And it was shocking when people would find out the little morsels of crumbs and milk that he ate every single day, and he with barely anything. But he was living on that madriga. The rest of us grew up here in America, even today in other places in the world, even Eretz Yisrael, the amount of food that there is on the streets, the bachim can get all the time. They're growing up on pizza and falafels and lafa, shawarma, ish tanur, like this, the size of a torpedo. All of these things, it's an impossibility that a person's going to live with bread and salt alone. So that's not our avodah. Seems to be saying the Pele Yoetz. Like we know there's a halacha. When it comes to giving tzedakah to a poor person, you have to provide him what he is used to. And therefore, even if he needs a horse to ride upon, he needs a nice Mercedes to ride in. He needs a servant to run in front of him to do his bidding. He needs a maid or the like. So you have an obligation to support him in the way that he is used to. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives a person these perks and these extras according to their actions. If a person merits it, he'll be able to eat at the right time. Whatever it is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives to each person, he'll bring it to him in any way that he wants to. Either a person's going to be able to earn his food through his work, his money, his parnasa, or even perhaps through tzedakah, if the person needs it and requires it, and he is zeichet to it, he will be able to receive what he wants to eat through tzedakah as well. Kuv the Maisi b'Shas, like a story that is brought in Shas, The Gemara says over there, I believe it's Rava, he had a poor man came to the house and he went to feed him and he said, no, I only eat fat hens and I drink good wine, old wine. That's all that I eat. And Rav was ready to give him a meal, maybe a little barley soup or something like that. He said, no, that's not good enough. He said, listen, you're a poor man. Beggars cannot be choosers. Just be happy with what I'm giving you. Suddenly at that moment, there's a knock on the door, and his sister that he had not seen in about 13 years enters in, and in her hand is a basket of fat hens and old wine. And he says, Ribono shel olam, I see that you can provide for people sometimes through their parnasa, their livelihood and money that they have, and sometimes it comes in the hand of tzedakah, and therefore he was able to feed this poor man what he asked for. So the Pele Yoetz is learning from here. You see that if a person is zeiche, if that's what they need, if that's what they want, that's what they're used to, Hashem can send it anyway. But if he doesn't have a zechus, he doesn't have any merits on his own, now he's got a big problem. He's spending money on luxuries, luxury items, extra food and the like, and where's that money coming from? Where's he getting that money from? Many bad things are going to come as a result if he's overspending and he's overindulging, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not sending it in an easy way. He's doing whatever he can to get more money here, more money there, to get what he wants. It's not going to be good, says the Pele Yoetz. As it says, as Kamayim Rabbi was saying, Azal teach us, the Achal Yasa, someone who eats fatty meats, Tashe Bilasa, he has to go hide himself in the attic, away from his creditors, the people that are coming to get his money. He likes fatty meats, doesn't have the money, so he's always buying from the butcher on credit. Well, eventually it's going to catch up with him, so therefore he has to go into hiding. The achal kakuli, however, someone who eats vegetables, very simple food, very inexpensive. So then the masa shachiv, he can go and sit in the public area. It's nothing to worry about. It cost him a couple of dollars for some veggies, and that's good enough. No one's coming and chasing after him, asking for his money because he had the money to pay for it. And it says, Echo batzal, a person who eats onions, a simple food. V'shei batzal, he can sit in the shade, he can sit very comfortably in his house. He has no worries, no one's coming to knock on his door and take his money. V'al toichel tanugim, but do not eat tanugim, pleasureful, tasty, geschmack, foods all the time, candies and steaks and cakes and all the different things that a person indulges in, because what's going to happen? Your heart's going to be chasing after them all constantly. Once that you get the taste in your mouth for all of these pleasures, once that becomes something that you want, you can't stop. If someone just told me about a diet that they're starting, and in that diet, there's no sugar allowed, which is a great way for a person to lose weight and to control their taivas as well. But you're not even allowed to have almond flour. Like if you want to make an almond flour cake or an almond flour cookie or biscotti, you can't even do that. Why not? Because there's a sweet taste in almond flour that is going to generate more wanting for sugary and sweet things, and it's going to make the diet very difficult. So even the things that aren't sweet, don't even have the sugar, even that you can't eat, because maybe it's going to lead you, it's going to spur you on to other things that you want to eat that do have the sugar and the indulgence. So says the Pele Yoetz over here, be careful. Be very careful what you indulge with, because it doesn't end. You have a little bit, you want more. You taste more, you want even more. You have one steak, you want a bigger one. You go to the nice restaurant, you want a fancy restaurant. You go to that clothing store, you want to go to the better clothing store. You want that car, you want a nicer car. It doesn't end. It never ends in this world. There's no satisfaction. There's no sipuk. You're never satisfied. And therefore, says the Pele Yoetz, although that we're not living on the levels of the Tana in the Mishnah, that we can just eat bread and salt and a little glass of water and sleep on the floor, but wherever we can curtail our indulgence in the pleasures of this world, eat a little bit less, sleep maybe with one less pillow, maybe don't get the car exactly the one that you want, maybe a little bit lower. A person does that, then they can start living Darcha Shel Torah. They can start living the life of Torah. Be'ezras Hashem. All the best.